Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's class session. So today we'll discuss about work definition setups, a in detailed discussion on work definition setups. Log into the application with our username scp_user. Select sign in. Okay. scp_user1. So go to navigator. So under manufacturing, you can see work definition. Go to work definition. Navigate to work definition. So in our Hyderabad inventory organization, so far we defined the resources, work centers, work areas, and all these setups. So let's go one by one. For example, so production resources. So if you open the resources, total we have two types of resources. One is labor, another one is equipment. So we define the resource with the name, code, and the type is either labor or equipment. A labor nothing but a physical person, equipment nothing but machinery, class nothing but which we are going to use for service duration class. Usage UOM. Usage UOM nothing but usage unit of measure which we are going to use to plan and measure the actual usage of a resource. That means exactly how much quantity, that means how much time. So either labor or resources, labor or any equipment, how much time or how much quantity you are going to use that. So resource is decided by usage UOM. So that means this usage UOM is going to measure the exact planning and actual usage of resource. Inactive on nothing but, so if you don't want to use this resource anymore, then we have to make this resource as a deactivated. So once you deactivate it, just by click on inactive on, so the resource won't be available anymore. But again, if you want to use this resource, you have to reactivate nothing but just remove the inactive on date. So automatically the resource is going to reactivate again. So costing enabled. Are you going to include this resource in costing? At this moment we are including, but we didn't define any rates. So once we implement the costing setups, we are going to define the rates for the specific resources also. So first setup, we discuss a resource. So once we discuss the resource, once we created the resource, we are going to define the work areas. Work area nothing but, so usually we will say in business, so department nothing but specific department which is going to perform the specific shop floor operations, like some people assembly departments or engine assembly departments. Likewise, we divided departments into work centers. That work center is existing in which shop floor location, that within shop floor location, the specific departments where it is sitting, we are defining as a work area. And even we define couple of work areas. One is the test work area 1 and test ASM work area 2. So we defined 2 work areas. So once we define the work areas, go to manage work areas. Navigate to manage work areas. So these are the just location name within the shop floor. So we define 2 work areas, and by using these work areas, we define the work centers. Work center nothing but department. Work center nothing but department. So here total we defined 3 work centers. So work center ASM work center, that means assembling work center, so which is available in assembling work area only. Assembling work center to another department who is going to take care of software installation. Still they are also sitting in work area only, ASM work area only. And another work center, test work center, which is sitting in test work area. So if you open the work center, once we create the work center, we are going to associate resources to the work center, as well as those resources, how many units are available for this specific work center. So assembler 1, 5 units are available. Machine 1 unit are available. This machine is available 24/7, but the resource assembler 1 is available. So 2 people in the evening shift and 3 people in the morning shift. This is what we define. So as well as, so if you open Here you can see available 24 hours. Then check capable to promise. Check capable to promise means if you enable this check capable to promise, then system will consider this resource in the specific work center in the global order promising engine. So that means system will, at the time of global order promising server, system will verify, and based on that one, system will calculate whether the resource is available or not. So for the available or not will be verified by ZOP. ZOP, when system is going to include this resource to verify in the ZOP. So when you enable this check capable to promise, check capable to promise. So then utilization. So utilization nothing but what is a sorry. Okay. So utilization. So under planning, utilization and efficiency is there. What is utilization? Utilization nothing but so how much percentage of time we need to use for to complete this specific work center task. 100% is nothing but so for example, so if I'm manufacturing any item in the specific work center, then complete time we need to use this resource. That means for example 8 hours requires to manufacture the item in the work center, ASM work center. Complete 8 hours, assembler 1 resource should be available. Assembler 1 resource. Again, assembler 1 resource, how many units are available? Doesn't matter, but the resource should be available for.
Share one small doubt.
Yes.
5 units you refer as 5 resources?
5 employees.
Correct. That's what. I'm doing 5 employees. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Then so efficiency. So efficiency nothing but so are we going to use this resource completely? So 100%. It doesn't matter how many units are you going to use. That is separate concept. I mean 5 units are available. Out of 5 units, are you going to use 1 unit or 2 units is a separate concept. But till completing the operation in this work center, are you going to use that ASM1 resource, production resource? Again, how many units is a separate concept. Are you going to use 100% or not will be decided by efficiency. Now utilization and efficiency also we choose by default it is 100%. That means whenever the operation is in this ASM work center, we need this assembler 1 resource till the completing the specific operation. Till completing the operation, we need this resource. So that's what we decided. Select OK. So then if you want, you can go to resource calendar. Resource calendar nothing but it is a MFG calendar. It is a MFG calendar. So go to the resource calendar. So here whatever the exceptions you want to define, you can define. So for which resource you want to define, you can define. So for in ASM work center, for this particular ASM1, so who is going to work in evening shift, who is going to work in morning shift, we can see. And so based on the requirement, you can just add a exception from the actions. Just select the resource. So go to create resource exception. If there is any already exception is available, for example your exception is available, so go to edit exception or delete resource exception, nothing but so when the person is going to take out, we are going to add exception. So when you are implementing GOP and when you are going to include this in the resource availability, then check capability promise, a global order promising server is going to calculate whether the resource available or not. Based on that one, so system will give us the clear date when we can complete the manufacturing process. Again, lead times, other stuff will come into the picture, but this is also one which is going to place a major role on resource availability. Okay. So then this is what we already discussed. Just I'm going to again repeating if any fields are missing. So select, save and close. Select, save and close. Here one more scenario. So for example, I defined the production resources in my manufacturing plant. So there is 4 resources are there. So I can delete anytime these resources, but when the resources is not associated with any work center. For example, if the resource is associated with any work center, we cannot delete the resource from the system. So if the resource is not associated, if the resource is not associated with any work center, then we can delete this resource. We can delete the production resources from the application anytime. We can delete the resources anytime. Okay.
But can we delete from the work center and then come to resources?
No, you don't need to delete work center. In the work center, the association you have to delete, then you can delete the resources.
Okay.
So where in the work center we are assigning the resources, right? So there the assignment you have to delete, then you can delete here also. Okay.
The effective date, close date for the resources against the work center.
No, that is not effective dates. Are you mean to? Are you asking about inactive date for the production resource?
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Inactive on so and so date for the resource.
So inactive. So if you enable inactive on, that means the specific resource is going to inactivate it, and we are not going to use that resource so anymore in the plant. But again, if you want, you can reactivate nothing but just remove the inactive on, then automatically that resource we can use. So even if you enable inactive on also, if the resource is associated with some work center, still you can see the assignment, but we cannot use that resource in a work order because the resource is inactivated. Sometimes let's simple example. So a machine is associated with one work center. Machine is a production resource only. Resource type is equipment. So that machine is associated with one work center. In the work center, so we are going to perform jobs. But unfortunately, the machine got damaged or some repair came. Then what you are going to do? You are going to make that machine as a inactive on. That means you are not going to use that machine anymore. Once the issue fixed, or we are going to replace with another machine, the same. We are going to replace with another item. Then what we are going to do? We are going to activate that again, reactivating. But still, even that is inactive also, that belongs to specific department only, right? Specific work center only. Clear? Okay. Then, so we have a concept of work definition. So sorry, standard operations. Go to, so manage standard operations. So here standard operations in spreadsheet, nothing but through ADFDA in the Excel. So we are going to format the data in the Excel and we are going to import to the application. So or else if you go to manage standard operations, here we are going to create the operations manually one by one. So I have created couple of operations which we are going to perform in my organization. So select all the organization, all the operations are typed in-house. There is two types. What is the another type? Is anyone try to click on the drop down button?
In-house supplier.
In-house and supplier. Supplier nothing but that is a OSP operation. Supplier nothing but that is a OSP operation. So what is the difference you can observe here? So earlier in e-business suite, how the OSP process, what are the setups will differentiate the OSP process? What are the setups will differentiate the OSP process?
We will create the OSP resource in the resource master, and at the same
That
time,
means whenever you are defining the resource, their OSP checkbox is there outside processing. There we are going to enable that one. For which item we are going to create one dummy item for OSP item, where you are going to give that OSP item, and we are going to choose these accounts or what some absorption account and some account.
PO receipt will mention.
Okay, and that is a charge type. Charge
Yes,
type, we have four types of charges. One is manual, whip move, whip. I mean,
PO receipt and
PO move.
So either we have to choose PO move or PO receipt.
PO receipt.
Okay, so that is the difference. That is the major difference. That means for the standard resource, we are going to choose the charge type as manual or whip move. But for OSP resource, we are going to choose the charge type as PO receipt or PO move. As well as for OSP resource, we are going to enable outside processing checkbox, and we are going to give the dummy account, and we are going to give the absorption account and some variance account or some account is there. We are going to give those accounts, and whenever you are going to create a department. So for the department, location is mandatory for the OSP operation department. Correct?
Correct.
But whenever you are creating a resource, did you see anything like OSP checkbox?
Yes, yes.
No. Now in cloud application, I mean,
No, we have
No,
not
cloud,
seen.
as
no,
well
no.
as, is there any location? Location is different and work area is different.
No,
Location,
we didn't see.
that kind of inventory.
No, nothing we could see.
So the main, but is there anything like supplier operation in e-business suite?
E-business node supplier,
No.
But in cloud application, the OSP setup will be taken care at operation level, where we are going to choose supplier as a supplier operation. That means that is a OSP operation. So far, we didn't created any OSP operation. So anyhow, we are going to discuss maybe in this week or next week. So far we defined 4 operations. 4 are in-house operations only. 4 operations are in-house operations only. Okay. Then what is this? So what is this? So open this operation. Open this operation. So first we are defining in-house operation with the name, code, and in which work center, in which department we are going to perform this operation. In this work center, there is a 2 resources available, for example, but out of 2 resources, for our operation, I am going to use only 1 resource. Out of that 1 resource also, I am going to use only 1 unit. That unit also basis type variable or fixed. So basis type fixed nothing, but we have to use only 1 resource. If you choose basis type as fixed, you have to choose only 1 resource quantity. But I'm going to use variable. Variable nothing but, so I can use more than 1 resource. I can use more than 1 resource. So for example, based on the product, how much quantity we are going to manufacture. So based on that one, manually we can use 1 more resource extra based on our requirement. So likewise, you can do that. If you choose basis type fixed, whatever, how much quantity you are producing in this operation doesn't matter. End of the day, you have to use only 1 unit. But if you choose a variable, yes, of course, you can choose. So you can report 1 more resource extra, 1 or 2 more resources. Also, there won't be any issue. There won't be any issue. Then, so usage amount, how much? So 1 unit is there. So out of 1 unit, I'm going to use complete unit, and universe usage also 1. Then unit of measure for this resource is hourly basis. Then scheduled nothing but, so we discussed that UOM class. So when you are defining the UOM class, did you discuss about service duration class setup?
Yes, we did.
So that means, so if the unit of measure belongs to the service duration class, so there is a profile option. What is that profile option? RCS default UOM. Okay, I'm saying some RCS default UOM service duration class. Some profile option is there, right? So we
Yes.
verified, right, couple of days ago, that RCS service duration. 1 second, let me open the profile option. We didn't define the unit of measure conversions. So that's RCS or some default service duration class or UOM duration class, something is there, the profile option name. So manufacturing and supply chain material management, manufacturing master data, manage plant profiles. Okay, RCS default UOM service duration class. That means what will happen is, so if we enable scheduled as a yes, that means in this particular operation for this resource, we can schedule. This is a scheduled resource. When this is a scheduled resource, so first you have to define a unit of measure class conversion. Then you need to assign unit of measure class to the resource. Before that one, you need to define that setup in the RCS default service duration class. So for example, site level, what is the one? So it is a time. So at site level, it is a time. Then we can include this resource in this operation in the scheduling. In the scheduling, we can use the, based on the scheduling, we can get the resource availability also. But even if it is scheduled, yes, still we didn't define so service duration class. Still we didn't define service duration class. That means it won't schedule anyhow. It won't schedule. Okay. That means How it will work? This scheduled will work based on the service duration class setup. So that service duration class setup requires unit of measure conversion. Again, that has to associate with the production resource. Based on that one, we can schedule the resource. That means whenever you are going to run the collections, in the collections there is a resource availability is one of the entity in the collections. So we can capture that resource availability, and based on that one we can schedule this resource for the specific work orders. That means we can already schedule. That means that this resource we have to use for this work orders from this time to this time. Like that we can schedule this one. Okay. Okay, then principle, just a principle, nothing but what will happen is, for example, so they let's take an example. These are the, in this work center I have some 5 resources is there. So all those 5 resources are associated with this operation. That means if I have to perform this operation, ASM operation 1, I need 5 resources. Out of 5 resources, 5 resource types. Out of 5 resource type, for example, there is 20 employees are working. Let's take a simple example. Then one person, so okay, how can I say, okay, simple our IT scenario. So IT scenario, so if you are working for a project, let's take an example. So your your organization is supporting implementation, so support projects, enhancement requests. So implementation project is operation 1, so support project is operation 2, as well as enhancement request operation 3. Just simple example. In that scenario, you are doing support project. In the support project is a operation 2. In that operation, you are going to have different resource types. What are the resource types? Associates, senior associates, consultants, senior consultant, managers, senior managers. So that means how many resource types is there? How many production resources are there here?
5 types.
5 or 6? I think 6. Okay. Again, 6 production resources there. Out of 6 production resources, so associates you may have 4 or 5 units. Correct? Associates you may have 4 associates or 5 associates. That means 5 units. So 5 units assigned. Users 5 units. Senior associates some 5 people. Consultants some 6 people. Or senior cons some 5 people. Again, on the top you are going to have at least 2 managers and 1 manager.
Okay.
Guys, please go ahead. Okay, so out of this hierarchy, who is the principal resource? Out of this hierarchy, who is the principal resource? Delivery manager.
Repeat the question here.
So delivery manager is a principal resource. That means similarly, delivery manager is a production resource name. It's not a person. The delivery manager is a production resource name. The person may change. Someone will work today, other person may work as a delivery manager tomorrow. But delivery manager is a resource name. That resource is a principal resource. That means just in a group of people who is going to work for this ASM operation 1, who is working for this ASM operation 1 in this work center, which resource is a principal resource is going to be decided by this one. That's it. Then charge type. So how you are going to calculate the charge? Manual or automatic? Manually are you going to report the charge? Manually are you going to report the charge, or else so automatically are you going to just anything is fine. So manually nothing but, so manually we are going to transfer the productions to the costing and all those things as well as. So if you don't choose manual, what will happen is automatically from the setups which we define the rates and consumption time, so based on that one automatically system will calculate the charge for this specific operation, and in the operation how much resources you are using for each and every resource, automatically system will calculate the charge. Okay, so this is what the resource setup within the operation which belongs to the specific work center. Here you can see count point and automatically transact. Count point nothing but, so we tested one basic work order scenario. What we have done, that basic work order scenario.
Count point is manually transacted.
Manually we need to move from one operation to another operation in the application. Automatical transact means
Automatically the system will do it.
System will move the operation. So which scenario we are going to use automatic transact? We given couple of examples.
Yeah, resource transaction we have done automatic transaction only.
No, I mean we didn't test it. But
Yeah.
we given some examples.
Costing, whenever it is including costing thing, then it's
Sorry,
costing, resource costing.
where the costing won't be applicable. First scenario, like production lines example we discussed. Remember,
Yeah.
the machineries will work for the production lines, where in the machineries also usually equipment they will purchase one time and they won't charge for the item manufacturing process, or else if they charge also, by default they will say 0.1 or $0.2 or $1 like that. In that scenario, by default it doesn't matter how much guys, whenever getting background noise, whenever you are not speaking, please go on mute, guys. Okay. So whenever the production line is going to have a fixed cost, like for one quantity manufacturing $1, $10, it doesn't matter how much cost. So a fixed cost, or else sometimes if you don't want to calculate the cost, in that scenario we can perform automatically transact the operations. So by default the cost is going to populate, or else usually we are going to transact manually. So that is what a count point and automatically again. So it doesn't matter. Sometimes the people won't even maintain proper costing. In that scenario also, I mean, sometimes what will happen is that they won't calculate the cost per item level or work order level. So some organizations by default, they will maintain a cost like for one item, this is what costs. So they don't care about how much manufacturing process is costing them. So those organizations also there. In those organizations also, they don't need to transact manually. So for them also, we can choose automatic transact. So these are the operations which we have. Inactive date, if you make it inactive, that means this operation is not anymore available. So what is the possible reasons we are going to make it inactive? So reasons may be like, for example, so what we can say is this standard operations, whatever the main resources, I mean main machinery is in problem or something, usually we will stop the complete operation also, because if some main machinery is having problem, usually even we will stop the operation. Then we have to ensure that we have to make it inactive again whenever we want to, whenever the issue is fixed, we are going to reactivate again. Or else if you don't want to use this operation anymore, then we can completely make it inactive. Then attachments, if there is any files or text or any images, URLs or anything you can attach to this operation, that is the attachment. Any documentation, for example, how to work, how to process this operation, you can prepare one Word document and you can associate with this operation. So again, or else the process, the way of processing any item, each and every item, individual item, you can prepare and you can take these screenshots and everything and you can attach. Again, from these attachments are going to pull in the reports or not will be decided by OTPA. Okay. Then what is this default for automatic work definition? So that means automatic work definition, nothing but usually in the ATO scenarios. So in the ATO scenarios, against star item is, I mean, against this star, I mean, so once we create the star item, against the main assembly, a star item structure build, we are going to generate based on the rules. So in that scenario, for the default automatic work definitions, this is the, so operation will default again. If you want, you can change it. So that's not an issue. So that this will default for that kind of work definitions. This operation will default. Okay, so these are the, this is what a standard operation. So
What is star item, sir?
so usually for star item, okay, ATO item. For ATO item, once we configure the item, we are going to generate a star item to manufacture that configurations against the configurations. So a default based on the rules which you are going to define. If you want, you can generate a default item structure and work definition. So against that one, we are going to process the manufacturing work execution process. In that scenario, that kind of default work definitions, if you want to populate a work standard operation, you can populate, you can define one or two standard operations and you can populate, or else it's not mandatory. Okay, then
Excuse me. In other words, if you put this for
guys, someone getting background noise from the back end.
Sarath, miss, I didn't understand what is that star item is. I didn't define.
ATO scenario. In the ATO scenario, what we are going to do, we are going to give the options to configure For the we are going to give the option to the customer to configure. Against that configuration, we are going to generate a star item. That star item we are going to produce. For example, there is a Dell laptop is there. So we are going to, in the Dell laptop, in the structure, we are going to have RAM, processor, hard disk. Again, in the RAM, we are going to have either 4 GB RAM, 6 GB RAM, or 8 GB RAM. Processor i5, i7, or i9. So hard disk 1 TB, 2 TB, 3 TB. Likewise, we are going to have options. Again, as options, customer is going to configure his own item. That means Dell laptop we need, but 4 GB RAM plus i7 plus 2 TB. Let's take an example. So with that configuration, we are going to generate a star item. Against the star item, we are going to manufacture and we are going to ship to the customer with the specific configuration chosen by customer. In that scenario, so that that item is there, right? After configure, we are going to create a, I mean, system is going to generate item, right? CTO item.
Sharath, it seems like it's something related to the Oracle configurator module in Oracle EBS, right?
Yes, I mean here configurator is mandatory. So earlier in
Yeah.
EBS stood Oracle configurator is optional. So by default, a seeded configuration setups will be applicable if you don't want to implement Oracle configurator. Just you need to define the bill as a model bill. Under model, you have to choose option classes. Under option classes, you have to choose you have to maintain bill as the option bill. So that is enough. By default, in the standard configurator, if you go to configurator button in the sales order, it will open a standard configurator template where we can choose the options and we can complete the configuration. So or else we can go with Oracle configurator where we have to define the rules and structures. So that is what the scenario in e-business suite. But in cloud application, by default, you have to implement configurator, which is part of product management. That means yes, it is a configurator scenario. In the configurator, again as the star item, so against the configured item, we can generate the item structure, we can generate the work definition. So anyhow, system will generate the work order. So that's a standard scenario, but with the help of configurator, we can generate the item structure and what we can say. So this is a work definition also, but still those functionalities are, I mean, not available in the cloud, but so they already documented that one. That means very soon we are going to get those functionalities also. In that scenario, so automatic generated work definitions, if you want to default one operation, we can default it or else. So what will happen is based on the rules, so for example, Dell laptop is going to have some work definition. That work definition is going to populate so automatically based on the rules. Okay, I mean, forget about all those concepts. Anyhow, that's a OEM concept. So simple scenario, I mean, okay. So if there is any automatic work definitions, automatically if you are generating any work definitions, for that automatic work definitions, if you want to default one operation every time, then you have to enable the checkbox or else no. So that means it won't default. Okay. Then, so here, so I mean, all these things are like inactive on. I mean, anyhow, this resource we made we didn't inactivate it. So attachments for the resource also, if you want to have attach anything, you can attach here also. You can attach here also, as well as alternates. If there is any alternative resource, for example, ASM1 is a assembler1 is a production resource. For example, this assembler1 is not available, and if you want to maintain any alternate resources, yes, you can maintain alternative resources also. For this one, we have to define alternative resources, but anyhow, we didn't define any alternative resources, so that is the reason it is not available. And activity, so what is this resource is going to do? Set up, run, or tear down? Which one this resource is going to do? I mean, set up nothing but setting the operation or running the operation, nothing but work process the operation. Just activity, what is the activity it is performing? So, but still it is not so mandatory. Just for reference purpose, we can mention the activity also. Okay. Then,
So can we define our own activity?
yeah, I mean, just in the, yes, we can define just naming convention only. There is a setup in the manufacturing somewhere, so you can define that activity also. 1 second. So lookups, work areas, item structure. Let's see in the lookups. So activity, resource activity. See, just you can add any value. Okay. So lookup configuration level extensible. Just for reference purpose.
Okay, sir.
Select done. Then we define the so standard operations also, standard operations also. Likewise, in my plant I have 4 operations. Out of these 4 operations, for which item how many operations I want to use, that is our own decision. Select done. Then we have a concept of work definition name. So go to manage work definition name, go to manage work definition name. So these are the naming conventions: display name, internal name, description. All these things are naming conventions. It will work based on the type. So we have 3 types. One is standard work definition name, another one is rework work definition, another one is transform. So tell me, how many work order types we have in cloud application? In cloud, how many work order types?
4. Standard, non-standard, rework and transform.
Standard, non-standard,
Rework, transform.
rework and transform. Okay. Then tell me why we have only 3 types. For example, if you try to create also, let's simply go with. So I'm going to define one. So 1 second. Let me create select cancel. Go to manage work definition names. So just I'm going to edit someone just I mentioned some naming convention. I'm going to edit this one. SCP underscore main work definition. Okay. So internal name we cannot update.
Just delete that and then you can.
So we cannot delete. What I will do is I just don't want to see this in the setup. That's what. Okay, that's fine. So just add one more row. Okay, so I'm going to create one thing as a SCP underscore main. So SCP underscore main work definition. So far whatever we are writing is just for naming conventions. It will work based on the type. So you can see 3 types: standard, rework, transform, and you cannot change this type functionality. So you cannot change this functionality. Then we have 4 types of work orders, but we have only 3 work definition types. What is the possible reason?
Non-standard work order, there is no work definition.
Usually for non-standard work orders, when there is any, when customer returned back for any issue, what we are going to do is, so our resources is going to work, but that specific non-standard work order don't have any work definition. It don't have any specific process. Usually we have to debug and we have to verify the complete issue and we have to fix it. That means usually resources will come and they will work, but it don't have any specific process, correct? But you may get it out. If there is no specific process, that is fine. But what about the operation? So it should happen in some work center, in some department. So by using some operations, by using some resources only, right? Even there is a non-standard operation.
Correct.
Non-standard, then how we can achieve that one?
Workless order, that one.
That is the
Can
reason.
use the rework.
Creating non-standard work order system will allow you to choose operations manually, to associate operation manually. For example, in my organization, so for repair purposes, so I'm manufacturing mobile phones. So when I'm manufacturing mobile phones, so if someone raises a complaint that so the screen got broken, please fix the screen. then automatically I can see the item and I can create a non-standard work order and I can associate a operation who is going to perform the screening issue, who is going to fix that screen. So someone said that some application stuck or some internal issues is there. I'm going to define one more operation. Whenever I'm creating a work order by analyzing the item issue, I'm going to associate specific operation. Manually, we are going to associate operations by creating the work orders. That is the reason we have only 3. Those are standard, rework.
No, for non-standard, where you actually go and do it?
At the time of creating the work order itself. At the time of creating the work. Okay. So then standard rework transform. So standard nothing but is a standard. For standard work orders, we are going to use standard work definition type. For rework work orders, we are going to use rework work definition type. No, not transform work orders, we are going to use transform work definition type. First we discuss standard. So we'll continue discussing a rework, what is transform, also one by one. First, so if you want to customize the naming conventions, so with this work definition name setup, we can change it. But end of the day, the functionality will work based on the type only. Type only. So use it in planning. This standard work definition are you going to use in planning, in the planning calculations? Are you going to use this work definition? If you include in planning, then system will verify. So whatever the standard work definition you created by using this work definition name, system will verify that operations items availability in the planning, supply planning. So then based on that one, system will give, so by which time we can complete the work order also. That means not only this thing. So based on this used in planning, system will include in the planning, but still there is another concept. What is that one?
That is schedule delivery for the sales order. Based on this one.
No, not for sales order. Schedule. Not every item we are going to manufacture for sales order specific. So sometimes we are going to, by default, we are going to manufacture. We are going to keep in the organization, right? Not every time we are going to manufacture for a sales order purpose. So sometimes what we will do, first we are going to define, then we will keep in our plant. Correct or not?
Like for R&D purposes?
No, not only R&D purpose. For example, I want to maintain on-hand stock. So automatically people will come and whenever they want to purchase, they will simply pick it.
So you mean to say it is a lead time, to calculate the lead time?
No, again, okay. So when it comes to the planning calculations, so there is 100 things will come into the picture. For example, when you are defining the work definition nothing but routing, nothing but process to manufacture the finished good item. When you are defining the routing, so anyone observe that production priority?
Yeah.
So production priority usually by default it is 1 and we are given 1. That means it is a top priority. That means if we enable this in the planning for the work definition which we are creating for the Dell laptop or Asus laptop, by using this work definition name, system will include in the supply chain planning for the materials as well as the resources associated with the work definition. That means system will plan whether the material is available or not. So as well as whether the resources are available or not based on the work definition. Then based on the work definition, our system will plan. Again, that work definition is going to have a work definition name. That name is going to have a type. That type we enabled as a used in planning. That means production priority will come into the picture. Once production priority comes into the picture, then system will verify the work definition. System will verify the work definition and it will verify the associated work definition name. That associated work definition name, if it is enabled as a used in planning, that means in the work definition, whatever components is there, nothing but materials plus what are the resources we are going to use. For all those resources and components, system will include in the supply chain planning. Based on that one, whenever you are going to generate the work orders from the workbench also, supply planning workbench also, system is in EBS technology AC workbench or something. So system is going to give the completion date automatically. Okay, again for sales order purpose, yes, supply and demand planning based on this one only. Sales order schedule ship date also come into the picture, but not every time for sales order. Okay, so based on the working process completion date, based on that one, system will give the sales order schedule ship date. But again, It's not only WIP completion date. For example, after WIP completion date, so we are going to deliver to the FG sub inventory. So again, after that, so maybe it will take some 6 hours or 1 day also to complete the picking, packing, and everything process. Then again, that will calculate, and based on that one, system will give schedule shift date. That is different. This is supply and demand planning. Not only supply, but also remaining activities also system has to calculate. Okay, this one we are referring till work manufacturing process only. Clear, guys?
Yeah, yes.
That means what is one more advantage? System will plan for the materials, whatever required, and for those materials also based on the pegging. So system is going to trigger the supply request also for the components as well as for resources. Anyhow, resources we don't need any separate request. So system will trigger the supply for those things also. Again, I mean, again those things comes under ACP setups. But simple thing, whether are you going to include in planning all the materials and resources for the specific work definition, are you going to include in the planning or not, will be decided by this used in planning checkbox. Okay, then start date. This specific work definition name from which date to which date you are going to use, you have to choose. So if you don't want to use anymore, you have to give as a end date. Select save. Select save and close. So now we define the work definition names also. Then we have to define the work definition, nothing but a routing. So work definitions, if you have 100 items and all 100 items is having some routing process, then first time are you going to create manually, or are you going to load through a Excel format? Which one you are going to perform?
Manually.
No, if there is 100 is there, are you going to do manually?
Then Excel.
Excel, that means spreadsheet. Manage the definitions in the spreadsheet is you have to export the spreadsheet template. Then you have to format and you have to upload back for again now from release 13.18a onwards. This is scrutinized a lot. Like you need a clear, I mean specific license version of ADFDA. Earlier we used it to download ADFDA from front end. Just what it will do is, so that ADFDA will create a link between the Excel Excel to the application, like how web ADAs will work. Same ADFDA will create a link between the so this Excel format to Oracle Cloud application. But now the only licensed versions only working. So likewise, system will generate the format. Here we are going to. I mean, anyhow, I mean this one won't work at this moment properly because only licensed versions only will works at this moment. Okay, there's some changes came anyhow. There's a licensing issues. Okay, then work definition you can define in the ADFDA, or else manually we can create the work definitions. So we created one work definition. So item SCP underscore Asus laptop. Select search. Select. So here you can see version 1, production priority 1. So only for production priority, top priority only system will consider. Select save and edit. Select save and edit. So now here, so we are going to associate operations to the work definition, and we are going to associate items to the specific operations. All these things we discussed. Okay, here you can see the collect. So collected items, what are the items we collected? All these things you can see. So if you want, you can print the work definition report, and if you want to change the process, you can revise this one. So you can change the revision of the work definition also. So I think this one we discussed in detail, how to assign. So drag and drop and click on action, associate, all these things we discussed in detail. So if you place cursor on assembling operation 1. So here 3 items you are going to associate, I mean assemble in the first operation itself. Out of those 3 items also, first we are going to associate first RAM, next hard disk, and next we are going to associate September. Item sequence in the operation. Operation plus item sequence. So in this operation, this is the item sequence we are going to follow. Then resources we are going to use. Let's minimize. Okay, then these are the resources we are going to use. We even print the work definition report also, and we have verified that scenario. So by printing the work definition report. Then if you want, you can print the work definition report from here also. So again, if you want, you can go to the resources, what are how to delete work definition. Don't think we have the option. Let me see. I don't think delete button will work. Let's see. No, it is there. Let's see. I don't think whether it will delete or not. You cannot delete. Difference by one or more work order. The work order includes the. Okay. So before using for any work order, then only we can delete, or else just we have an ended concept, right? Anywhere we have ended concept, so we can end it. So if you don't associate with any work order, that means if you created a work definition and you still didn't use for any work orders, then you can delete, or else so somewhere you can see end date. Where is the end date? So production manage versions.
So in the start date, beside the start date, you can see.
Yeah, end date. Selected it. No, okay. Edit properties. That's not property. So we need to revise this one second. Let me revise the version. So one second, version 1. So go to manage versions. Not here. Select save and edit. Go to task, new operations. Go to resources, standard operations. Okay, one second. Select save and close. So go to actions. Delete. No, not this one. Two columns show all. Work definition, FEH. So edit properties. So system is not. Maybe the privilege is stopping us. So there is a end date is there. So but maybe some privileges are stopping us. Let's see. I mean, so is there any privilege restricting us? We'll see. Okay, here actually we have end date column. We can end date it. So but deleting. So you can delete before associate with any work order. If you manufacture at least one item, then you cannot delete. Just you can give the end date for the work definition. Okay. Then we associated the items and all these things. Just is how to zoom out, zoom in, all these details, guys. Then you can just simply rotate this structure. So I mean, these are the simple. I mean, so expand or collapse or like that. So how? I mean, just we can see in the clear format with the help of this view. Okay. Then here, if you want, you can simply just rotate the process. See now, here it will show top 10th operation, 20th operation. Likewise, in the vertical it is showing. Earlier it is in horizontal. Okay, so this is what a work definition. So we discussed work definition last time also itself in detail by associating each and every resource. One is how you can drag and drop out, as well as so you can edit here also, as well as anytime you can edit, anytime you can edit the item by click on action. So click on edit. So now you can change the item sequence also, how much quantity, inverse quantity, anything you can change. So default supply subunit is populating from where? Plant parameters.
Work center.
Plant parameters.
Yes, plant parameters. Then we have a concept of supply type. This supply type is populating from where?
Center.
Item attributes.
Item
attributes.
The supply type is populating from item attributes. So if you want, you can choose at a work center level also. Work center or I think yes, work center level also you can choose the default supply type. Whereas here also we can change the supply types. Assembly pull nothing but for entire assembly. It doesn't matter how many operations is there, and all components you are going to pull at one time by creating a WIP movement request. Operation pull nothing but each and every individual operation, whatever components is required, we are going to generate a WIP movement request and we are going to pull those components. Push nothing but manually we need to report the material transactions by manually. So I mean manually we have to report all the materials to the operations. Bulk nothing but in a bulk from the bulk sub inventory based on the bulk picking rules. So we are going to pick not only for one work order item. So in a bulk, whatever the components we can pick, all components we are going to pick in one go rather than for specific work order purposes. So then Phantom nothing but just is a imaginary item. For the Phantom, whatever the sub components required, we are going to pick all those Phantom components. So for the specific item. Supplier, that means it's usually we are going to use this supply type. Supplier, I think this is it's not for OSP. So OSP won't decide by supplier. So this one I will see. Okay, this one I'm not very sure. This one I will verify. Okay. So these are
I have a question here. If you choose assembly pool as a supply type, is there any request ID getting generated? You're saying that movement request is getting generated.
So based on the picking rules, yes, movement request, a WIP movement request is going to generate. In the WIP movement request, whatever components is required for complete operations to manufacture the final assembly. So we are going to pull all those components in one go. Before, at one time, we are going to pull all the components.
Unlike operation pull, in case of operation pull, each operation.
For example, in the 10th operation, I have to assemble 3 components. In the 20th operation, I have to assemble some 2 components. In that scenario, for 10th operation, whenever it is in 10th operation ready status, we are going to pull those 3 components by generating a WIP movement request. Then once it is moved to 20th operation, again a WIP movement request will generate to pick another components, another 2 components.
Okay.
Okay.
Sarath, one thing is on the resource cost, it is not clear from where it is picking up.
We didn't define any resource cost. Resource cost usually we are going to define when we are defining the managed production resources where we can see the rates. So there we are going to define the rates for the uses. But we didn't define any costing rate. Did we define so far?
We have not defined anything cost.
But from that side up, we are going to generate the rates. So when you go to the manage production resources, so let me save and close. Manage production resources. So here you can see rates, define rates. So here just add resource rates and the details which cost element and all these things. So anyhow, I didn't make this organization as a costing organization, right? We didn't define anything, right? So just we are going to create the cost and cost element like material cost or cost, all these things. Yeah. So then tomorrow we'll discuss about standard work order, rework work order scenarios one by one. Tomorrow we'll go with the work order scenarios. So where actually so far we didn't we just tested a basic scenario only, right? Now we'll discuss in detail scenarios. As we covered the till work definition, we covered most of the fields. Then from tomorrow onwards, we'll discuss about work execution scenarios. Okay.
And planning quality also.
I mean, that's the work execution completes quality. Then follows costing.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So it's already 9:07. I'm going to close this session. So thanks for joining. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Bye for now.
Sarath, I need that video sessions. I have not received.
No, you received it. 1 second. Let me pause recording.